The first time I saw him, I thought it was a trick of the light. It was a Wednesday morning, and I was shaving in front of the bathroom mirror. My reflection blinked half a second after I did. I froze. The fluorescent light above flickered, and for a moment, everything looked normal again. I laughed it off. I hadn't slept much anyway. 3 nights of deadlines at the office, 3 nights of caffeine and anxiety. But the unease stayed with me. Later that night, my best friend Mason called. "You've been ghosting everyone, man. You okay?" "Yeah," I said. "Just work stuff." He paused. "Then who the hell did I see at the foundry last night? You walked right past me." I frowned. I hadn't left my apartment in days. "Maybe someone who looks like me," I joked. Mason laughed nervously. "Right. Except he was wearing your leather jacket." I didn't own any other jacket like that. There was only one, a birthday gift from Mason himself. That night, I couldn't sleep. My phone buzzed once. Unknown number. "Nice shave this morning." I stared at the message until my hands went cold. There was no profile picture, no previous chat. I typed, "Who is this?" 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then nothing. At 3:07 a.m., I heard someone moving in the next room. My apartment was small, a 1-bedroom. I held my breath and crept toward the sound, phone flashlight trembling. The living room was empty, but on the coffee table sat my wallet, open. And in the slot where my ID should have been was a photo. It was me, but not. I was smiling in that photo, wearing that same leather jacket, and written on the back in messy handwriting, "You're doing great, Daniel. Don't mess it up this time." At work the next day, people acted strange. "Hey, man," said my boss, Mr. Halpern, clapping me on the shoulder. "Good presentation last night." "What presentation?" I asked. He raised an eyebrow. "The one at 7. You nailed it. Client was impressed." I hadn't been there. I had been home, alone, and yet someone with my name and my voice was taking credit for it. When I checked the office security footage, the screen glitched each time I appeared. Only static and then faintly, in one freeze frame, a shadow of a face, smiling directly into the camera. That night I tried calling Mason again. He didn't pick up. Instead, I got a text. "Stop chasing me. I'm doing better at being you than you ever did." My phone dropped from my hand. I looked up, into the mirror across the room. My reflection was still looking down. Then it looked up, slowly, and smiled.
The next morning, my phone was full of messages from people I barely remembered. "Great seeing you last night. You were wild, bro. Call me about that job offer." Job offer? Party? I hadn't left my apartment in 2 days. Then I saw the photos. Someone had tagged me on social media. My face, my name, laughing at a crowded rooftop bar. Same haircut, same jacket, but the eyes, sharper, colder, like he'd been waiting for this life all along. I went to the mirror again. "Who are you?" I whispered. My reflection tilted its head and smiled, a slow, knowing grin, before I even moved a muscle. That evening, I stormed into Mason's apartment. He opened the door and froze. "Dan, what the hell? You were just here!" My stomach dropped. "What do you mean? You came by an hour ago. We talked about the presentation. You even borrowed my charger." I walked past him, heart hammering. "Mason, that wasn't me." He frowned. "Stop messing around." Then I saw it. The charger was gone. "Listen," I said. "Something's wrong with me, or with someone else pretending to be me." Mason's eyes softened. "You need sleep, man." He put a hand on my shoulder. "You've been stressed. Maybe it's..." His phone buzzed. He looked down, then up at me, eyes wide. "Dan," he whispered. "You just texted me." I snatched the phone. The message said, "Don't believe him. I'm the real one." My throat tightened. "Mason, do you see what I'm saying now?" He didn't answer. He was staring at me. No, through me. "Your reflection," he said slowly. I turned. The hallway mirror behind me was vibrating, the glass rippling like water. And then, a pale hand pressed out from the inside. I ran. Out of Mason's apartment, down 3 flights of stairs, into the cold night air. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. You can't run from yourself. I threw the phone into the gutter. It landed with a splash. By the time I got home, the door was already open. Inside, everything was neat. Too neat. The dishes I'd left unwashed were stacked perfectly. The floor was clean. And my ID, the one that had been missing, sat on the counter. Except it wasn't my photo anymore. It was his. Same name, same address, different face. I backed away, heart pounding. Then I heard humming from the bedroom. My bedroom, a soft, off-key version of a song my mother used to sing when I was a kid. I peeked inside. He was there, sitting on my bed, wearing my clothes, scrolling through my phone. He looked up. Finally, he said, smiling. I thought you'd never come back. I froze. He stood, walking closer, every movement identical to mine. You weren't using this life properly, he said. Always afraid, always running. I'm here to fix that. He reached out and touched my face. It felt real, warm. Then everything went black. I woke up hours later on the floor. The apartment was silent. I stumbled to the mirror. There was no reflection, just emptiness. Then a whisper filled the room. You're not Daniel anymore. When I woke again, sunlight poured through the blinds, warm against my face. For a moment, I thought everything had been a dream. Then I saw my hands. They weren't mine. The veins were in different places, the fingers slightly longer, the skin smoother. I stumbled toward the mirror and froze. The man staring back was me, but not me. He was cleaner, calmer, confident. His hair was neat, his eyes were brighter, but I was trapped inside the reflection. I banged my fists against the glass, but no sound came out. On the other side, my double just smiled. He picked up my phone, waved at me, and walked away. Days, maybe weeks passed. I couldn't tell time anymore. The reflection world had no sound, no smell, no touch. Only light. I could see into my apartment, but I couldn't reach it. I watched as he lived my life. He went to work. He laughed with Mason. He visited my sister, and hugged her like he'd known her forever. And she hugged him back, saying, "It's so good to have you home again." He was perfect, polite, productive, charming. No one suspected anything. But late at night, when the lights dimmed and the world was quiet, he'd stop smiling. He'd sit on the edge of my bed and whisper things I couldn't hear. Then he'd turn toward the mirror and look right at me. One night, I noticed something strange. Every time he passed a mirror or window, the glass shimmered, like it knew he didn't belong there. I pressed my palm against the glass from my side. He did the same. For a split second, our hands matched, warm, real, connected. Then I felt it, a pulse, his heart, beating on my palm. That's when I realized he wasn't just living my life. He was feeding off it. Every breath he took made me weaker. Every smile he faked drained me more. And soon, there would be nothing left of me to even remember I existed. I had to fight back. I started scratching words into the glass, backward, so he could read them. Give it back. I am real. Stop. For days, he ignored me. Until one morning, he looked at the writing, smirked, and whispered something. The glass cracked. Then the words I'd carved began to fade. He was erasing me. Desperate, I began to focus on memories, emotions, anything that was mine. My mother's lullaby. The smell of rain on the roof, Mason's stupid jokes. Every memory sparked a light inside the mirror. The cracks began to glow. I could feel something again. I could breathe. Then he screamed. Not from fear, from pain. The walls flickered between worlds. My reflection became his, and for the first time he looked terrified. "Stop!" he shouted, his voice echoing across both sides. "You'll kill us both!" I'd rather die myself than live as your shadow, I yelled back. The light grew brighter. The mirror began to hum like electricity. And then, crack! The glass exploded. I opened my eyes on the floor. My apartment was dark. I gasped for air, trembling. Everything hurt. I crawled toward the bathroom mirror and stared. My face, my eyes, my skin. I was back. I laughed, then cried. Relief flooded me like a wave. Then my phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. Thanks for letting me out. I froze. My reflection smiled, just a half second too early. When I woke the next morning, everything was almost normal. The air smelled like coffee and rain, the clock ticked quietly, and sunlight leaked through the blinds. Almost. My reflection wasn't moving. It stood there, staring back at me, unblinking, as if waiting for me to say something. I touched my cheek. The reflection didn't move. I smiled weakly. Nothing. And then it raised its hand, a second late. That's when I knew he wasn't gone. I tried everything, covering mirrors, breaking them, even throwing out my phone. But every reflective surface showed him, faint, watching, smirking like a predator with patience. He wanted back in, and I could feel him pulling. The longer I stared, the heavier my chest felt. My head buzzed, my fingers twitched. It was like gravity, dragging me closer to the glass. Finally, I smashed every mirror in the apartment. The silence after the last shatter was deafening. I thought I was free. Until my phone, the one ID thrown into the gutter days ago, buzzed on the kitchen counter. It was wet, cracked, and glowing faintly. Unknown number. You can't erase what's already written. Then another message. Check the camera. I opened it with shaking hands. The camera app loaded front-facing, and there he was, standing behind me. I spun around, nothing. But on the screen, he was closer now. The background flickered, glitching between my apartment and somewhere darker. A place with no light, no sound, only shadows moving behind him. He leaned closer to the camera, his voice vibrating through the speakers. You never understood, Daniel. You're not the original. You're the reflection. My heart stopped. What? He smirked. Did you really think you could break out? That you could win? The phone slipped from my hand. I could hear whispering, hundreds of whispers, all saying my name. They grew louder, merging into one voice. Trade complete. I blacked out. When I opened my eyes, I was sitting in a hospital bed. An IV dripped beside me. A nurse smiled softly. You're lucky, she said. You were found unconscious. A friend said you'd been under a lot of stress. A friend? Mason walked in, grinning. Man, you scared us. You okay? I nodded weakly. Where's my phone? He handed it to me. Here, you left it on my table the night you came by. I looked at the lock screen, my photo, but my face looked wrong. Sharper, confident, the other me. Mason didn't notice. He just laughed. Same old Dan. But when he left, I looked in the small mirror by my bedside, and for the first time, there was nothing there. No reflection. Just emptiness. Days later, they discharged me. At home, I tried not to think about it. I deleted every photo, smashed the last mirror, and covered the black TV screen with a blanket. But sometimes, and when the lights go out, I see movement in the dark. A faint shimmer, like glass catching moonlight. And I hear him whisper from somewhere behind the walls, I told you, Daniel, you're not the real one. One night, my phone vibrated again. A new text. Unknown number. Stop pretending. It's my life now. Then another, delivered from your own device. The screen flickered. My reflection blinked, but I didn't. I screamed and hurled the phone into the mirror. The glass shattered, but instead of falling, the pieces floated in midair, each one reflecting a different version of me, smiling, crying, screaming, all trapped, all alive. The shards swirled together like a storm until one piece, one perfect, polished sliver, shot toward my chest. And the world went dark. When the police arrived the next morning, they found my apartment in ruins. Mirrors shattered, walls cracked, no sign of me anywhere. But my phone sat on the table, the screen still glowing. One final message on display. He's gone now. Thanks for letting me out. The end, double identity.